Hi guys, welcome back again to a new tutorial. This is easy oil painting. Now, it's not the name I wanted for the channel, but I was messing around with the name on the channel, and I tried a few different names, and suddenly I get a message saying I can't change the name for 90 days. So unfortunately, we're stuck with this for a while, guys, alright? Easy oil painting. It's not too bad, I suppose. We'll change it in the future. So look, here I am in my studio. Another new tutorial for you this week, and I'm going to be painting a nice lighthouse. So a nice seascape now this week, okay guys? I did have some requests for different types of scenes, but I'm trying to paint something that I think everybody will relate to and everybody might get some hints and tips from. Alright, so I'm just going to show you around my studio here quickly, my setup and how I work and how I do things, okay? So this is my studio, guys, okay? Now, the table here with all bits and pieces laid out. These are some of the paintings you will probably recognise from past tutorials. I still have a few of them. I don't sell much, I'll be honest. Now this one here, the grass scene, okay? I just added some poppies into this. So a little impression of some poppies going off into the distance, and that kind of makes it nice and bright, doesn't it? So just a little small change here and there. I think you'll agree. It kind of brightens the painting up a bit, adds an extra bit of interest into the painting, and I just added some little highlights of leaves in here and there as well on the tree, just with a little pointy brush. So just to show you how you can kind of go that one step extra further if you like. A lot of my tutorials that I do, they wouldn't be finished paintings. I would let them dry for a couple of days and maybe come back then and add little details just here and there. Now that's another nice one here of the North Chapel in Cork City here. A lot of people would recognise this. Now I changed the roof line here, just put in sort of the older type of a scene. Back in the old days, it's just all kind of big apartment blocks all the way along here and flats and stuff like that and houses. But I kind of kept it old. I think it just looks a bit nicer. That's a nice painting. We could try something like that sometime. So this is the setup now. Here I have a nice wide canvas again. It's 20 inches by 10. I normally use 20 by 8, but I'm going to try 20 by 10 this time just to give us an extra bit of height, to get a nice sky in there. My paper palette, I use wooden palettes like that normally, but for tutorials I'm using paper palettes because you can see me mixing colours then properly. Isn't that right? So down here we have what I would use, just a little bit of tissue, some turpentine, okay? Now this is just genuine turpentine, and into that a couple of drops of linseed oil, refined linseed oil. Now this is about 6 or 7 quid, 6 or 7 euros a bottle, but it'll go very far. And you can use this on its own as well if you want, just to have a little bit on a plate or something, and just dip your brush into that for doing little details. And that makes the brush nice and soft and the paint nice and flowy as well. So, brushes. Big range of brushes. They're just the cheap synthetic brushes. Okay, you can buy them in your local craft shop, anywhere that sell art materials. Look at these. I bought these. Look, these are fantastic brushes. I bought these in Lidl's. This is a store we have here, and 7 euros for a pack of those, and there was like 7 or 8 in the pack. So they'll do me for a very long time. So you can do things cheap, guys. It doesn't have to be too expensive. Now, my box. This is my paint box which I made. It has all my tubes in there, lots of different reds, blues, yellows. One colour I did stumble upon was this, which I had in my box for a very long time. It's chrome orange. And this is another one, cadmium yellow hue. So this is very, very rich cadmium yellow. It almost looks like an orange, I'll be honest. But I normally stick with the cadmium yellow because it's nice and bright and rich. So cadmium yellow pale, that's the one I would use for most of my paintings. This is slightly kind of a more tangerine-y kind of a colour. But it's something I had in my box. I might use it. I might take that out sometime and use it. Also, cerulean blue. It's another bright, rich blue for seascapes and for skies. I might use a little bit of that. So we can kind of chop and change as we go and use lots of different colours. Okay, so now this is my stand, my little homemade jig I have here. Huh? It's a weird looking thing, isn't it? But look, it does the job. It does the job for now. I'll hook my camera up here and you can move this around then. You can move it up and down and find the right angle on the camera. So that's it, guys. This is my setup. So this is my studio, this is where I work. And I have a fine big painting down in the back there. I might prime over it and maybe do a nice big landscape, maybe a 5-part series or something like that. Do a big landscape and do a little bit every week or something like that. Give me your suggestions, what we think. What kind of a scene do you think would be nice on that canvas? It's a very big canvas, but it's huge, lads, absolutely huge. It's the biggest canvas I've ever painted. I think it's about 4 foot wide by 3 foot high, and it's massive. So that's it, guys. This is what I do. This is my studio. It's just nice to go somewhere, to have somewhere kind of just our own space to out of the house, you know. I'm not up there in the small spare room taking up all the spare room, creating a mess. So I can do it out here, and it's just a nice place to be, and I can concentrate on painting for you guys. Alright, so look, I'm going to mount the camera and we will crack on with this painting here. Again, thank you very much for all your support and all your help and all your compliments and comments and criticisms. Everything helps. Alright, let's have a bit of fun with this. A nice seascape this week, guys. Nice lighthouse. I think it's Roach's Point. I'm not 100%. I'll double check when I stop this video. I'll just double check where it is. I think it's Roach's Point I'm going to be painting. Nice colourful landscape. Alright, let's have a look, guys. Don't go anywhere. Okay, guys, here we are. It's actually Phaylo Lighthouse in Donegal. Okay, up in the north of the country. Beautiful spot. Donegal has some of the nicest scenery in the country. Do visit if we're ever going to come to Ireland. But this is Phaylo Lighthouse up around the Phaylo Peninsula. So it's up around Donegal, and it's a gorgeous picture. You can see it on your screen. Lovely sky, lovely warm sky, and we have some lovely shadows on those rocks as well. Some lovely sort of nice rich sort of bluey mauvey shadows on those rocks as well. So that's going to be nice. A little bit of fun doing that. I have my canvas here now. Excuse me. I primed this canvas yesterday twice. So I'm just going to give it a quick rub with sandpaper. I hope you don't mind. Just a quick one. And that will just push back the primer just a little and make it that little bit smoother for doing nice seascapes. But you can see it does still have a nice grain in it, so that's going to be really nice for doing the rocks, and it will really take the paint off the brush nicely. So you can see that kind of a grain. Now I have a little line there, I don't know what that is. I think there might have been another bit of canvas resting against it or something over a couple of days. But that will be gone once we start painting, and you can see now the light coming through that window next to me here. The sunlight is coming right down on top of this. So I hope it doesn't affect the colour too much for you guys anyhow, but it's pretty cloudy outside, so I reckon it won't be there for very long. We're blessed to having a lot of cloud here in the Republic of Ireland. It's not a bad thing, I suppose. Could be nicer, but look, we have a lovely country all the same. So let's crack on with this. Okay, I'm going to run through the colours I have, and I have a couple of different colours here just to give me some different contrasts. I start with titanium white. I don't know if you can make that out on the video. Let me just check if I can fix this picture for you here. There's a lot of light coming in on this right hand side. Okay guys, that's a bit better I think. I just kind of put some paper over the one half of the window there just to keep the sun away from the glare away from this canvas. It's not too bad there now. Okay, colours. I have titanium white, I have some phaylo blue. I'm putting that out just for darks really, just for shadows. I might use a bit of cobalt blue for the sky. because the sky is a nice kind of crisp blue sky. Just on the left there's a nice bit of a, kind of a light blue going through it here. There's some pinks on this side, pinks down the end. I might use a little bit of cobalt blue as well, I'm not sure yet, I'll see how I go with this. A little bit of magenta, just to keep it warm. A little bit of cadmium red. So there are two reds now we have already, and we can do a lot of different tones with those reds, a lot of different values. Cadmium yellow pale, and that's just to make a little bit of green for the top of the cliff. I have some Naples yellow, which is a very opaque, creamy kind of a yellow, very whitey cream pasty kind of a yellow. That would be very nice for highlights, for the sky as well. And I have some burnt umber. I think I would say that's probably all I need. I might put out a tiny bit of lamp black later if I need it for some very, very dark, rich shadows, but we can use burnt umber and phaylo blue for those darks as well. So you don't necessarily have to have black all the time, alright guys? Let's crack on. Okay, I'm going to get my pencil and just do a quick, very, very quick sketch. And when I'm doing these paintings, I just do a very, very quick sketch. Horizon line, I'm going to come up just below the halfway mark, I think. So if halfway is about here, I am going to go just below that. And I'm going to put a very loose line just across there. Okay. Suggestion of this cliff coming down. So we have the cliff coming down like that. And it breaks off into rocks down here, doesn't it? And we have a big rock here. Like so. And I'm being just very suggestive with this now, alright? I'm not trying to get an exact photographic copy of this, because you never will really. That's that rock, and it just kind of comes along here then. Nice water crashing up on the wave. Up on top we have this, we're just going to continue this over here, like that. And the lighthouse. Now let's have a look at this lighthouse. Just try and get a kind of a rough position of this lighthouse here. I don't want it to be too far away on the right. I wanted to bring it into the painting a little bit. So let's just come up here with this, and let's make this nice and thick now so it really shows on the painting. Now I'll probably paint over this with the sky, but this is just, I just want to get a quick reference of little bits and pieces that we have. A roof coming across here, and then it goes up into the gable end of a little house. I don't know if you can see that on the photograph, but it's there. That's the gable end of a house here, and it comes back like so, and it goes, let me see now, there's a little corner here, so that's the kind of a corner of another building, and we have another roof here. And then it comes down like so, and over and down, over and down, like that. Chimney tops and stuff like that, we can leave those out, we can do those last. We have kind of a pathway then coming down. Now we have kind of a thick wall here, and then we have a pathway coming down at an angle. So there's a kind of a walkway that comes down the cliff, which is quite dangerous, I'll be honest. And then it comes down like there, and it comes across with a big wall. So we have a big wall then that comes down like this, and it disappears into the rocks, you see. So I'm just putting in a very loose suggestion of that patch, that's all I'm doing. That's pretty much it, I think. Another bit of a wall here. Disappears into the rocks again, and a small wall then just going around here. Disappears around the side of the lighthouse. So these little details can be done later, guys, alright? I'm just getting a rough sketch on this. We could probably even make this a bit wider, I reckon, because I want this to really show on the painting. And go up higher with this section again. And that's just a very rough sketch. So that's it, that's all the sketching we need to do. Very loose, very free. Paint is next. Yeah, we'll grab our brushes, guys, and we'll have a go. So So I've just adjusted the camera there, guys. The filter was on a different setting there, so everything was kind of yellowy. I apologise for that. It's fixed now, normal colour, okay? Everything is right. Let's go. So I'm taking this green synthetic brush here now, alright? It's a very, very cheap brush that I buy. These are only small stubby handle brushes. They're very cheap, a couple of euros for a pack, and they're just very basic brushes. I don't know if you can see that. They don't even have a name really. AMI, they're probably something from God knows where. But look, that's what I use. Nice synthetic brushes. Most of my brushes are like this. So, give another example. Another nice soft synthetic brush, you see? And I love using these brushes because they're nice and smooth. And they give a lovely finish. So, without further ado, I'll be quiet and I'll start painting. Now, I'm taking my big brush and I'm looking at the picture. We have some light blue just along on the left here, don't we? So I think I might put some of that in first. So I'm just going to dampen my brush in the turpentine, just the tip of the brush now, guys, okay? So I'm only putting the tip of my brush now, just this much of the brush into the turpentine, and then dabbing it on my tissue to take off the excess. So it's just a nice damp brush then, okay? You can see that, it's damp. And then I'm going to go in, now depending on the dryness of the canvas, you might have to make it a little bit damper, a little bit wetter. But it's kind of trial and error really. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to take some white. And you can see all that now just starting to move around very quickly already. And I'm going to take a touch now, just a very small touch of phaylo blue. And I've only picked up a bit there now just with one bristle. You see the little bit I have on that there? That's all I'm taking. And watch now how strong this colour is. You see that? Isn't that unbelievable? The strength of this phaylo blue is amazing. And it's full of pigment. So I'm just light blue here now. A little bit more white. And I'm looking at the photograph and I want to keep this warm. I don't want to go too cool with this. That's probably even a bit cool for me, so I'm going to warm it slightly. We have two options. We can take some magenta or some cadmium red. I think I might take a touch of magenta for this. Only just a little touch, mind, just a touch. And let's have a look. You see, that's a little bit warmer. That's just slightly warmer now. That's more of what I was looking for. And I'm just going to come along here and put some of that in. Now we're going to be darkening these as well, so don't worry, this is not going to be the finished blue that we're going to work with. I'm just coming along here. I'm going to start adding more magenta into this as I go along. And I might even add a touch of cadmium as well. Just to warm it just that little bit more. And I think the trick with painting skies is not to overdo the colour, I suppose, at the beginning, because you can always build on top of it, you see. So I tend to be quite, I suppose you could say cautious with my skies early on. That's the word I'm looking for, cautious. I can tend to be quite cautious at the beginning, and then as colours develop, I just start putting more and more colour on. So I kind of go by the motto that less is more sometimes. So I'll start off with a bit less and I'll build on it then. I know a lot of people just pick up loads of paint and just go hell for leather on their canvas. That's great as well. But I just kind of like to hold back slightly. I like to look at the colours and how the colours are interacting. And, you know, make nice subtle changes to colours. Now I've just picked up a little bit more cadmium red on this. It's nice and pinky here on the right hand side, isn't it? So I'm going to take, what I'm going to do now is just dab my brush in the turpentine and wipe off what colour I have on that. And I'm going to take some magenta and a touch of Naples yellow. And this will give us a nice kind of a warm, pinky, orangey kind of a colour. There we go. And I'm putting more white into that now. I want it thick. And I'm going to put that in over here. And look, I'm going right through the houses, right through the lighthouse. I don't mind. I can paint them back in again. And let's take a little bit more Naples, because I can see You probably can't see it on the photograph, but I can see a very rich, warm, almost a sunsetty kind of colour here, just on the right hand side. So I'm going to try a bit of that. And I'm going to soften that up then. Now, a little hint, okay? If you have Naples yellow like I have here, which is very yellowy tone here, and you're going up into blue, it will start going a little green or a brownish even, as it has there. So what you do to neutralise that then is I'll just take an extra little bit of red. Just a little. And that red then will neutralise that brownish, greenish kind of a tinge, and it'll mix in lovely with the blue, you see. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And let's go now, let's get some richer colour on this now, because we're still a little on the light side, I think. So I'm going to go right in now with some real rich colours. Some Naples yellow, cadmium red, and a touch of magenta. And I'm going to start getting nice and rich with these. And let's take a bit more white, a bit more Naples yellow. And I'm coming along down here, there's a bit of this colour off in the distance, just on the left here. And I don't know if you can see it, guys, but my canvas is still a little on the dry side. And you can tell by the way the paint is really kind of going into the canvas and being soaked up by the canvas. So it's still, you know, still a little on the dry side, but it's okay for this. I would like it to be primed probably one more time, but it's alright, it doesn't really matter. It's now, just coming down there by the horizon line with this colour, nice kind of a pinky colour that we have. And I'm going, now you can see the richness of the colours very well on the camera. It's not showing through. I'm looking at the camera here now as we speak, and these colours are very pale on camera. They're actually quite rich in front of me here. So I'm going to make them slightly richer just so you guys can see that a little bit better. Alright? So I'm going to mix nice rich colour here now just for you guys. I hope that's coming through a little better. Over there. Let's take a touch of cadmium, look. Let's try cadmium. Put a touch of cadmium in there. What I will do now is I'll take a slightly smaller brush. Let me see. I will take this kind of a brush here. A number 10 flat synthetic. That's what we have. And I'm just going to dampen the brush again, and I'm going to give it a good dry, and I'm going to go into some cadmium yellow pale and some white. Now a nice bright colour now. And I'm just going to go over here, and I'm going to put a hint of that in just up there. And you can see now it's actually mixing with the pinks that I have on the canvas, so it's mixing in lovely. Right in, I'm going to soften it down. I just want to put a hint of it up there in that corner, because there's a lovely rich bright yellow showing through on the right hand side up there, and there's a bit here and there as well. And it's just brush strokes, guys. Simple single brush strokes, that's all I'm doing. Just kind of having a bit of fun with it, really. And I'm not copying this photograph exactly. I'm just kind of using it as a guide, really. You know, you can change the colours all you like, but I will try and keep it somewhat similar. Right, I'm going to clean that brush, and I'm going to take some cadmium yellow, and I'm going to take some magenta. That should give us a nice rich warm colour, shouldn't it? And let's put a little bit of that. So I'm developing the colours as I'm going, you see. I'm just adding more and more colour to these as I go. And you can do that by all means. There we are. And I'm going to take my time with this one for you today, guys, alright? I might make this a two-part tutorial because I want to take my time. I don't like rushing too much into things. It is not good for painting to rush too quickly. Now I'm just going to take some magenta and some white, and I'm going to go up here and put a hint of light pink, just floating across here and there. And notice I'm giving it a little wiggle, and clouds in the sky will tend to have that little wiggle, especially when they're kind of off in the distance. They have a little wiggle coming down at a slight angle. You see? Does that make sense? And I know Tomas out there, if you're watching, you really love this magenta. Tomas is another artist, and he put on an exhibition recently in Douglas in Cork here, and it was a huge success. I have to congratulate him on that. So congratulations, Tomas. Your work was fantastic, and I really can't take any credit for it because you did it yourself. I just kind of gave you hints and tips, that's all, and you did the rest. So congratulations, it was a fantastic evening. I really enjoyed it, and you will be a famous artist one day. That I am sure. Okay, with my same brush I'm going to start putting in some darker blues here. So I'm going to take some phaylo and I'm going to mix everything on the same spot. Let's just keep it simple. So some magenta, some phaylo, and I might take a touch of cadmium red. And let's take a touch of white into that. So what I do is I just add little bits as I go until I get the shade I want. Sometimes, like a lot of the time, I suppose it's trial and error. A lot of the time the shade that you put on would be wrong, and you'll go back in and get another one. So let's try this now. Just some dark blue clouds coming in from the left hand side here, and they're going to get thinner and thinner and thinner as they come across. Okay, so I give the brush a little wiggle as I come along, and thinner and lift off. And you see we can soften these then with the soft brush as well. Understand? And it's very, very simple to do these clouds. It's just a case of, I suppose, not being afraid to try it. You see? And then they're softening into the pinks as well, and that's making lots of different tones and hues and lots of different values, lights and darks, and it's all happening naturally on the canvas. And that's why I love using these oils. If I was doing this in acrylics now, guys, it would be very, very different, because the paint would be drying very quickly. It would be very difficult for me to mix and blend colours together. So acrylics are very, very different in that sense, but they're also very handy in the sense that you can go out into a field, do a painting, and it's dry by the time you leave. And that's a very, very handy side of acrylics as well. So each has their pros and cons. Now I was thinking, actually, maybe in the next couple of weeks I might start doing some plein air painting. So you know, if the weather goes okay and it starts brightening up, if I have a couple of sunny days, I might head out to the streets of Cork and do some plein air painting and get some street scenes, some nice bridges, some rivers, that type of thing. So let me know what you think. Be nice for a change, wouldn't it? Rather than being inside the studio here all the time. But it's a little cold at the moment, guys. It's very, very cold outside. It's like 1 or 2 degrees outside at the moment. So it's freezing. Now, let's have a look and see how we're doing here. What I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to soften that. So I'm going to take a soft brush. Let me find a nice soft brush here now. Ah, here we are. Now, a very soft brush. A powder brush. A woman's makeup powder brush, you see? And you can see it there if you don't believe me. And I get these cheap in the discount store, again. Very, very cheap. €1 or €2. And they soften all these clouds in very, very nice together. Now I'm going to come down here and soften all of this in. And I'm going to go back in then and start putting some more clouds on. Alright? So I'm going to now start taking slightly darker shades. So I'm going to take, now I might switch to a smaller brush actually. I think I'll switch to a smaller one for this next stage. Let me just see if I can find one here. Sometimes, you know, the problem of having too many brushes is that you have too much choice, I think. I'm going to a nice little small one here, a small flat brush. I'll take some phaylo blue again, some white, and I'm going to get nice and thick with this now. So, no turpentine. Phaylo blue and some white, some cadmium red, because I'm going to keep it warmer. It's going to be a warm shade rather than a pinky kind of a shade. So I'm using cadmium red this time instead of magenta. Now you can alternate between the two. Just kind of try and find which one suits you. And I'm going to get some darks. Let's get some dark clouds now, just off in the distance here. So just a suggestion of some darks floating across here and there. That's still a little blue for me. So a bit more red, a bit more white. I'm just have a nice warm blue for that sky. I'm going to get some dark tones in here and there. And all I'm doing with this, guys, is just kind of flicking the brush around in a circle. That's all I'm doing. And let's get a couple. I'm going to get a few just along here. Okay, just on the bottom of those clouds there. And I'm going to put in some highlights as well in a minute, don't worry. I'll be putting in some highlights as well. Put a couple just off in the distance there. Now when I'm going down into this yellowy pinky colour, I'm going to add more red, because again I don't want it going green. So I'm adding a bit more red into it just down at the bottom there, okay? So always remember that. If you put a bluey tone over a yellowy pinkish tone, it's going to start going green or brown even. So it's worth it just to be a little cautious. Now a bit more blue up there. So you can see now how I'm just kind of adding different colours, slightly different colours as I go. They're only subtle, but they're only subtle differences, but you can notice them as soon as you put them on, you see. And so that's the fun of painting anyway, isn't it? Trying something out, and if it doesn't work out, then you just move on and do something else. Isn't that right? No. So I'm going to now clean that brush, and I'm going to pick up some white. I'm going to put some highlights just here and there in the clouds. So I'm going to take some, for that I'm going to take some white, and I'm going to take a touch of cadmium red. Okay. So it's going to be a warm highlight on these. And just here and there, you see. just a little dab, and that helps. And I think a lot of the time, even when I was kind of starting, I was afraid to take these little chances and put in these little highlights and things, because I was afraid of ruining my painting, you see. So I kind of learned over the years just to give it a go. What have you got to lose? If you mess it up, you can just go back over it again with your brush. That's my motto, really. And don't be afraid to try it. So you see, it's just little hints of clouds off in the distance. And we can put a couple around here on these. Okay. And I'm cleaning my brush after each time I do this, just to keep it nice and clean. And put a couple in along here. Let's put one or two around there. And then let's soften that in very gently. There we go. Nice and lightly over that, just very, very softly. So how's that looking? That's not a bad old sky now, is it? A nice warm sky for a lighthouse. There is one other thing I want to do while I have this small brush. I'm going to just clean this small brush again, and I'm going to get that bluey colour off. I'm just going to go into here to some cadmium yellow, some white, and a touch of magenta. Just a sec there now, guys. I have a message on my phone there. Right, there we go. Yeah, little touch of magenta, some cadmium yellow, so have a very warm colour. And I'm just going to put some of that in. Just here and there. I want to lighten that. I want to put in some really bright sunlight colours, kind of sun coming through the clouds here and there. Okay, can you see that? And I'll put one or two. And that's really kind of helping bring the sun in from the right hand side, isn't it? There we go. And just soften them in. So that's looking quite nice now, I have to say. A nice warm sky. So I'm just going to soften just a little bit more on this top corner here. I want to keep them nice and soft. And that is that's pretty much our sky. Now we can come back to that again later if we wish. You know, nothing is set in stone, is it? Let me just lighten this. It's a little bit dark, I think. It's just sticking out a little bit too much for me. So I'm just going to lighten it and push it back. There we go. Yeah, that's a bit better. Lighthouse next. So I'm just going to do the top of the basic shape of the lighthouse, and then I'm going to move over here and do these hills. It's just to get them filled in, just to get that colour filled in. And it's just basically, let's take some more white now. We're going to get some white and Naples yellow on this. And that'll give us a nice bright white kind of a lighthouse type of a colour. Okay. So I'm going to take my little soft flat brush, and I'm going to go up here and take some white over here and take a little touch of Naples yellow. And it's just thick paint I'm using for this now, guys. Thick paint, nothing else. So I can't see my pencil lines here, so I'm just going to imagine, let's just picture where this road is going. So the lighthouse is around here, isn't it? So white, Naples yellow, pull that straight down. And let's go back in there again. So we can darken this as we go, then we can put some nice shadows and things on this. So here we go, pull it down. Nice thick paint. And I'm going to make, it's actually quite high up, isn't it? I'm going to go a bit higher with that. Just a little. Let's go right up here into that cloud. Okay, that's just the basic outline of the lighthouse now, alright? I'm going to move across and do the rooftops. And we can make these darker in a minute. I'm just getting the basic outlines in. Okay. And there's going to be a lot of shadows in here as well later on. And let's take some more of that. What I might do actually is take some of this warm kind of a plum colour and put some of that on here. See, I'm working wet into wet now, so everything is being picked up from that colour behind. And that's good. That's what you want. That's a good thing. So let's put a bit of shadow on this. Just pull some shadow across into that. And we'll do some detailed work in a minute with our pointy brushes. We get some of the chimney tops and some of the roofs in and things like that. I just want to get the basic shapes of these in. I'm going to come across here now with some dark. So I'm going to put the light on the left hand side. So I'm going to put some shadow here. Just pull some shadow down. And soften it in the center. So already we have a 3D shape. Can you see? Isn't that so easy? Isn't that lovely now? And let's put a bit in here. I take a touch of burnt umber. With a touch of cadmium red. And I'm going to just suggest some shadows here and there on these buildings. So it's just coming together slowly. It's about making small little changes. That's kind of generally what I would do. Just small subtle changes. I'm just going to darken this now just slightly at the bottom here. And we leave that for now, I think. And I'm going to move over and get this hill in the background here. So we have a very loose suggestion of a hill off in the distance. It's a nice warm shadowy colour. Let's take some phaylo blue, little white and some cadmium red. And let's put that in off in the distance. Now, so it's quite dark, isn't it? So we put it in quite dark, and we can put some highlights through it then. So I'm going to work from dark to light with this. There we are. So we've a couple of hills here, and we've one, then it comes up and down like that. And we're going across then, and it's a little one in the center, and it goes off then, and it's very kind of jaggedy off there, isn't it? And I'm almost letting this kind of disappear into that sky just slightly. So I'm taking some burnt umber and some cadmium red, and just at the bottom here I'm just going to blend that over slightly, just make it a little warmer. And I can even take some phaylo blue with some magenta, and we could even put some of that in as well. That'll be a nice rich colour, you see. And let's just take a look at that now. I'm going to take my lighter colour that I had, lighter brush, take some titanium white with some blue, and I'm just going to suggest a few little lights here and there, so the sun is just kind of catching the hills off in the distance, just a little. Okay, just like that. So that's it done, finished. Looking quite well, isn't it? Now I might make the sky a little more pinky later on. I'm still not 100% happy with that sky. In fact, I think I might do it now as I'm talking about it. I might just add a bit of pink into that. A little bit of pink into that sky with some magenta, some cadmium red, and some white, because it's just not pinky enough for me over here, I don't think. So I'm just going to gently blend a little bit of pink through there. And that's a little bit better, yeah. So you see, you kind of keep going along, chopping and changing. That's kind of, I suppose that's the name of the game really, isn't it? Just adding little details here, little details there. And so that's all the fun about it, isn't it? You have to enjoy what you're doing as well. And you have to enjoy making these changes. There, that's a bit nicer. I think that's just, that softer colour is just a little bit nicer, I think. It's not as harsh as it was. Because on the photograph, it's very, very soft, isn't it? But I made it just that little bit harder, just here and there, just to bring them out a little bit. So I'm just going to go along and I'm going to put in this water just here. And the water now is going to start off quite dark. So some phaylo blue, some cadmium red. And let's start with that. I'm making it probably a little more on the red side first. And then I'm going to start lightening it slightly. So let's make it more red. And as it comes across, it's going to lighten very, very slightly. There we are. And I'm working kind of really now on a quite a dry canvas. So let's take some more white, a little bit of magenta, and let's just put a couple of flicks of colour in just here and there. See, that's creating some nice texture out in the water. And let's take a bit more magenta, a little bit of cadmium red, add a touch of that pink in there. So I'm complementing the colours now as I go, so little bits of pink, little bits of blue. Let's get a little bit of light blue actually. You see, let's dab a little light blue in there. I get more phaylo. Ah, you see. So just adding colours as you go. And then it comes right down here. And it gets very almost pale, almost kind of a grey with a hint of green in it, isn't it? Just add a touch of yellow into that. Now I'll leave it just like that for now, because I want to concentrate on these rocks, all of these rocks here. I want to get those in, and just get them started at least, and then we can kind of concentrate on details. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from light to dark. So I'm going to put in lots of dark here, and it's going to be light on the top. So I'm just going to use, let me see now, let me have a look at some of my brushes and see what I'm going to use for this. We have a huge selection. Don't know what now, I'll just take this one here. I'll just take this little one here, a little flat, soft, synthetic flat brush. It's quite worn, so we'll just take that. So I'm going to start with some darks around here. I'm going to take some, like, let's just dampen the brush first. A quick dampen, and let's take some burnt umber. And I'm going to take a touch of phaylo and a touch of magenta. So it's a very blacky kind of a colour. And I'm just very quickly now putting in a suggestion of these rocks. Just very quickly. Okay, come down like that. And then we have another one here, don't we? Now I'm just getting some more magenta because I'm out of magenta. It's all gone. So let's put a little bit of that there. And I will take a little touch of cadmium red as well. So I'm going to keep this. It's sort of, it's cool but it's warm at the same time. Does that make sense? Looking at the photograph, it's kind of quite warm here, but it's cool. There's cool shadows there as well. So I'm going to try and keep it a bit of both. So some burnt umber, some cadmium red, and I'm going to bring it up here. So I'm using that warm colour for on top. And I put a very dark, rich colour in here then later, you see. So let's just go right across now with this colour. It's a bit green on the top there, so I'm just going to leave a little touch of that up there. Okay, and this is a lot of fun. This is great fun getting this section in this, because you can be very, very free with this. You can kind of mess around with it really, and really get the feel for your brushes and your paints. Just kind of scrub it around and get lots of that colour in. You see? And by the way guys, thank you all for supporting me as well on Patreon. I really, really do appreciate all the help that you're giving me, and that's enabling me then to continue on with these tutorials, you see. So you're helping me so I can help you. Isn't that a great way to be? So thank you all for your support. It really does mean a lot. And if you would like to support me, patreon.com, and you can pledge any amount you like, and that goes towards these materials, canvases, and this it helps these tutorials to keep coming every week. Well, almost every week anyhow. I'll try to get as much tutorials up as I can. I hope you'll agree. Now I'm just going to get some phaylo blue and make it a little cooler, just here. So you can see now we have quite a warm brown kind of a colour, and that's, I suppose we could call that the base colour, you know, the filling in, and then we're just going to build on that, you see. So that's, I suppose that's the terminology I'm going to use. We're just kind of filling in the canvas. And I'm going in down the bottom here now with a lot more blue. Okay, a little bit of blue, a bit of red. And that'll be the basis then for our shadows later. And we can really work our shadows into that. And yeah, going quite well, I think. It's always lovely to paint these seascapes because they can be very dramatic, and you don't need to put a lot of effort into these to make them dramatic. It's just very, very simple techniques. Now notice I'm scrubbing the brush in the direction of the cliff. So I'm scrubbing the brush up and down like this to give the impression of the cliff falling down this way. You see? It's all just with the way the direction of the brush, that's all. And that helps give you the feeling of everything falling down. Now, I want to get some green in around on the top here. Well, it's a very kind of a dull green. So I'm going to take some magenta first. I'm going to try a bit of cadmium yellow into that. And I'm going to try a bit of that. Now, I already had some blue on my brush. So I'm giving this it's a very kind of an earthy green. And I will switch brushes now very, very soon. Little bit on this side here. I'm softening that down into the dark colour. A little bit around on this side. It's coming on quite well. Now I'm going to switch to a slightly flatter brush. Okay, I'm just going to go to this flat brush here. And I'm going to take some cadmium yellow and a touch of red. And I'm going to go up here and hit this with some nice bright colours. Okay, just like that. So it's going to start getting brighter now, very bright at the top. And then it's going to fade down into a darker colour. And that really gives a nice impression of the sun hitting the land up there. A little bit across here. And again, I'm only using the photograph as a reference. I'm kind of pretty much doing this myself here. You see? Gives a little wiggle down into the rock underneath. So we're creating the direction of the rocks as well as we do this. Okay, nice bit of light there coming across. Now you can wait till this is dry if you like. If it makes it easier, you can just wait till it's dry and put on your lighter colours then. But I like to work kind of wet into wet, as you probably guessed by now. So I like blending the light colours down into the darks. You see, and that's giving a nice impression now of the land, the rock, the direction of the rock. Okay, it's giving a nice feeling, and the sun kind of coming down, hitting the rock as well. So I'm just going to switch down now to a warmer colour. Take some cadmium yellow with some cadmium red, and I'm going to put in a hint of the tops of those rocks. Okay, you see, that was a nice one there. Let's take some cadmium yellow, a touch of cadmium red, a touch of Naples yellow, and let's just kind of hit that here and there. Suggest the edges of rocks, that type of thing. So the rock is falling down like so. Let's get some more cadmium red in. And these warm kind of burnt colours now are giving a lovely feeling, lovely warm feeling to the painting. Would you agree? Now, let's go along here. I'm going to take some cadmium yellow with that red and a bit of white. So I'm going to take a nice dollop of white into that now. So let's see what that gives us. And I'm just going to go along here and I'm going to form kind of the edge of that kind of grassy verge up there. Okay. Okay guys, so I've just added a tiny bit of blue just to the edge down here, okay, and what I did was I just took a bit of phaylo blue with some magenta and a touch of white, okay. I just went down here and I put in a suggestion of those rocks falling down at a slight angle just here and there. That's all I did, just a suggestion, okay. So you can see that's what I did just down at the bottom here. With a couple of shadows coming along just in here and there. So I'm only just suggesting some marks with the brush, that's all. Very, very, very simple. There's a big kind of a rock coming around here with some light on that. So I'm taking some titanium white now with some magenta, and I'm just suggesting some light just here and there on that rock. And then what I did was I just took a small pointy brush with a little black, okay, just a tiny bit of black and some magenta to make it warm, and just suggest some darks just along the ends of these here. And that just helps push everything else back then, you see. Okay. So that's just creating some shadows just here and there. Try not to be too particular with all of this. This painting really, you see, is only just, it's supposed to be just an impression and a suggestion, and everything is just an impression, everything that I paint. When I paint rocks, it's an impression of rocks. I try to keep things as simple to paint as I can. Well, when I'm teaching anyhow, I could be here for hours and hours putting in little details, but you guys would probably just get bored looking at me just putting in small details like this all the time. So that's why I kind of tend to paint kind of quick impressions of things, just to give you basic kind of hints and tips that you might need just to get kind of started, you know, and you can kind of make up your own techniques then as you go along as well. So that's kind of pretty much the basis of my painting and my techniques. Now I'm just going to take some, let me get some brown. I need to get some brown on my palette. So some burnt umber, lovely rich brown, and I'm going to start with some of that, and I'm going to put in some kind of crevices up here. Okay, and then I'm going to put some black with magenta in just on the top, so creating a nice little crevice. Then let's get some really dark colour up at the very top. Okay, just like that. So we have a nice little crevice over there. And these small details now, guys, you can kind of really take your time with these at home, as I always say. Just take your time at home. Don't rush them too much. Now I'm going to get my fan brush, and I will tell you why I'm going to get my fan brush. I'm just going to put a little texture on the top of this up here. So I'm just going to take some yellow with some of that orangey kind of colour that's already there, and I'm just going to bring some of that down just here and there. And that just gives it a much more natural kind of a feeling, I think. Let's put a bit over here. You see? I might darken it slightly. So let's darken it slightly around there. There we go. So there we are, you see. And that just kind of gives it a nice transition from grass to rock, doesn't it? And then you can take your pointy brush and take some nice dark colour and go in around it and give us some little hints of dark colour to suggest those little ridges and little cracks in the rock, that type of thing. You see? And I'm pulling all these down in the direction of the cliff, the way the cliff is falling. Let's put a couple here. Now I'm going to be putting in some nice highlights here in a minute as well. So for example, now I'll just give you a quick example because we're almost finished part 1. Can you believe that? I might darken this just slightly in a minute, but I'll give you an impression of some highlights on the rock. So some Naples yellow, some magenta, and just here and there some little suggestions of some highlights. And that's a lovely colour now, Naples yellow and magenta. It's a nice kind of a highlight, a warm highlight colour. We could put a couple just around here. There you see. That helps, doesn't it? And let's take some phaylo blue with some white. You see, and we can put some bright highlights with that too. Okay. So you can do all these different types of techniques. And again, I tried to just keep it simple. I'll be honest with you. Now for this side over here, I'm going to take some magenta with some white. I'm going to keep these highlights warm, so nice warm highlights on this side. There you see. And this is constantly kind of evolving. It's constantly changing. If there's something you don't like, just change it. So for example, I'm going to dull this down slightly here. I just think it's a bit bright and probably a little bit brash, isn't it? So that's a bit better. A slightly duller tone just on top. You can then, if you like, just hit the very top of that with some bright highlight. So perhaps just here and there, the sun is really kind of catching it. Okay. Okay guys, welcome back to part 2. How are you all doing? I hope you're doing good. Let's finish this lovely seascape we have here. And I'm going to move on and do the lighthouse and get all the little details done on top of the lighthouse. Yes? That sounds good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to my small flat brush. And I'm going to finish the lighthouse. I'm going to take some Naples yellow. Now I hope you enjoyed part 1. I'm keeping everything as simple as I can, just so you guys can kind of understand relatively easily what I'm doing and how I'm explaining things. So yeah, I'm keeping everything nice and simple. But at the same time, I want to get some drama in the paint, you know, get some feeling in the painting as well. So I hope you like the painting so far. I'm going to darken the shadow just on that, just a little, because it's still a little on the bright side. So little blue, little magenta, little cadmium red. And there we are. And I'm just softening that into that light colour then. Alright. There we go. And I might take a little bit of brown, kind of a browny colour we have. A little bit of red with a brown umber. And I'm just going to warm it slightly, towards the bottom anyhow. And I'm going to warm this one slightly. That's it. And then we have a little dark across the top of that. The little roof coming across. That's just the eave of the roof. And then we have a little gable end on this. Like that. So that's the bright side. And it comes across slightly and it goes over here. Let's just fill this in now. And we have a little bit off here. I might put a touch of brown into this. I might just darken it here on this side. Okay. Now we'll put in some little details. So some burnt umber, a little touch of black, and I'm going to come across here. And we have a little roof on top of this, don't we? A very small suggestion of a roof off there up in the distance, and these are only tiny details now because it's so far away. It's almost impossible to make it out really. Little bit showing behind this. Maybe a little suggestion of a chimney up there. So just a few details. And they're just small details, they really are. So we have a little dark across here, dark across there, little doorway here, a little window just here, just an impression. And we have windows then on the lighthouses as well. On the lighthouse, I presume this is a door. It looks like just a window, but I presume it could be a window. I put another one up here in the middle, and I put another one up on top. Let's make them a little thicker. There we go. And we have a little one on the left hand side here. Then we have that little section on top. Now, it's just where the light is, so I'm just going to suggest the top of the roof here. It's a little oval. So this is the underneath of the roof on the next section. And it's going to come down then. I'm going to bring it down on both sides. like so. And it's very dark then just under here, isn't it? And there's a lot of red kind of thrown in there. I presume it's something on the light, which is inside there. So I'm just going to put in that, a suggestion of something up there, something very rich red. Let's put in the little bars along the front. There we go. You see, it's just a suggestion. All I'm doing is giving little suggestions of these. And let me see now, let's put a little bit of pink. A little bit of brown in there. So we're getting there, guys, aren't we? It's very, very slow, but we're getting there. Now, little roof. We have a little roof off in the distance up here. Let's put that in. And we have one here. We put that in, and at the top of this. So then I'm going to get some white and hit that with some white as well. And let's take a touch of black and give it a little chimney top, shall we? So it is kind of, it is coming together, albeit a little slowly. But all these little things make a difference. So I hope you like my channel, guys. I'm getting some great feedback. I hope you're learning something from it. If you learn anything at all, then it's made it all worthwhile for me. Now, so let's have a look at that. Let's just take a step back and have a quick look. I might add a little bit of shadow. Little bits of shadow now just here and there. I might put in. There we are. A little bit of shadow just here, and I'm softening it in then to the lighter colour, you see. Now I'm just going to straighten the roof. There. And let's put a little shadow under that eave there. So that's coming along nicely now, isn't it? Now what I'm going to do is take my palette knife. Now I'm going to take a different knife this time. I'm going to try this knife, and I'm going to try and brighten up some areas of the rock just here and there with this knife, okay? I'm just going to pull it down just here and there. I've just taken a bit of Naples yellow and some red with a little bit of yellow. So that'll do for there. Just hitting it with some highlights, and I'm going to then I want to then switch to a little round brush, And I'm going to go out here and do some very dark rocks. Okay, just very, very dark, rich, bluey black rocks. So with some phaylo blue, burnt umber, and a touch of black, I'm just going to fill these in here. And I'm not filling in every inch of the canvas, I'm leaving it here and there for the colour underneath to show through. Okay, that makes sense? You see? So it's really kind of coming out now, isn't it? I'm taking a bit more blue in this, maybe a touch of white, because there's a lot of kind of contrasting shadows in here. They're light shadows, if you understand what I mean. They're not dark shadows, they're light shadows. Okay, I've just added a little bit of white and blue just down here, and I'm going to feather that up into the rocks, okay? And I'm going to pull those rocks down into it slightly, so it becomes nice and soft, you see? And they almost disappear then down into the ocean, don't they? So just a little bit of phaylo blue, a little bit of white, and a touch of cadmium red, so it's not as rich, and just go along and pop some water in there, and I'm going to soften it up then into the rocks, you see? So the rocks now will again disappear down into the water, and we can create some spray now and all that kind of stuff as well. So let's just work this in here. So this looks nice and soft now. Nice soft finish to the painting. And isn't that so easy? You know, you don't have to go to a lot of detail, a lot of attention to make a painting look nice. You see? Now what I'm going to do is just take my pointy brush, and I'm going to take some of that white with some blue, a touch of magenta, and I'm just going to put in some little highlights of the water just here and there. Okay, you see that? Just a couple of little flicks, and I will start lightening it then very, very slightly as I go. So magenta and white over here. You see? So it's just kind of a crisscross action is all I'm doing really. And let's make this nice and pink over on this side. Nice and pink, there we go. And all these now are just little suggestions. I want to put a hint of a wave just kind of off in the distance out there. Just one or two. You see? That lovely. And again, I'm thinking, when I'm doing this, all the time I'm thinking, just keep it simple, nice and simple. Let's put a little highlight just there on that rock. Perhaps a little one just here and there. And I know it's a bit bright, I will darken it down a bit. There we go. That's a little better, isn't it? And let's go more now with this nice bright pink. I'll add a touch of Naples yellow to this, just to warm it slightly, I think. And I suppose the trick here really is to kind of go from a dark value to a bright value, to a very light, colour. And I'll be honest, I don't kind of talk much about the terminology of the art world, you know, values and tonal and all this kind of thing. I don't kind of talk about that very much because I like to just simplify things. And if somebody talks about something, if somebody says a certain word, not everybody may necessarily understand what that word means. So I just use simple, very, very simple vocabulary when doing these videos. I hope you don't mind. It does not have to be complicated. So that's looking quite nice now, isn't it? What I might do is I might just add a touch of a green into the painting. Now, when I say a touch, I mean literally just a tiny, tiny, tiny touch. Just with some Naples yellow and put it into some of that blue. And it's going to be very, very, a very light kind of an earthy green. So it's just here and there. Okay. And let's take a touch of cadmium yellow. I don't want to go crazy with this now, I just want to put in a hint, just a little hint. And also what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take my pointy brush and get some phaylo blue with some white. And on the rocks now I'm just going to suggest some water kind of running down off of the rocks. So do you know the way the water will get splashed by the wave and then it'll kind of run off? Well, I'm going to try and create that effect. Okay, you see? Now I don't know if you can see it very well on camera, but I can see it here. And a little bit here. And I think this is probably one of my nicer paintings that I've done. It's amazing really how a painting sort of just evolves in front of you. I don't think anybody really knows how a painting is going to turn out until it's finished, really. Wouldn't that be correct? It's very, very difficult to predict how a painting is going to look. You can say, well, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, but as the time goes on, then you kind of change, you chop and change. And what you expect it to turn out to be is not always the case, is it? So I'm just going to darken this up here, and I'm going to take some black with a bit of brown and just darken here, just ever so slightly. Let's do the same with this one here. And I'll do the same with this, just darken this on one side. Now, I'm just going to create a tiny little bit of spray on the rocks. Now, on the photograph it's not there. The photograph is very subtle, very kind of loose, very subtle. So I suppose I'm going to just use my artistic license to create some. And I'm just going to take some of that magenta, tiny bit of magenta, tiny bit of blue, and plenty of white. And let's see now, just here and there, okay? Just going to dab it very gently, just here and there. I'm going to soften in then. What I might do is maybe add a touch of Naples yellow or cadmium yellow even to the spray when it's finished, just to give it a bit of a kick, as they say. There we are. And we'll move around to the other side. So we're all the time now just adding little bits of interest to the painting. Just little bits. Now let's try a touch of Naples yellow with a good dollop of white. And let's see, that gives us a nice bright highlight now, doesn't it? So you see, I'm trying different things all of the time. And that's quite nice, isn't it? Let's just lighten that just slightly. Now we have a wall as well up there, which I want to get in. That wall comes down, so I'm just going to take some white with a touch of that blue perhaps. And let's take a little bit of Naples yellow actually. Let's give it a warm feeling. We have a kind of a dirt track that comes down like that. And it takes a turn down here. Then it comes across like this, doesn't it? And it kind of disappears into the rock then, doesn't it? Just like that. And I'm going to put a bit of blue and a bit of red on that. A little bit of shadow. There we go. And it's brightening it as well at the same time. And then we have a very bright wall up on top, which I'm going to put in. So I'm going to put that in here. And it comes around like that, and it just sort of disappears, doesn't it? So there we go. That's the top of the wall. Now while I have some of that light colour as well there, I'm just going to put a little touch of it just here and there. Okay, and I want to put a little suggestion of a dark just in here. So you see, you can kind of work away at this constantly, just tipping away, adding little bits here and little bits there. You see? And let's put a little couple of seagulls in, I think, up here on the left hand side. Every seascape should have a couple of seagulls, shouldn't it? I think so anyway. Put one there, one up here. He's flying at a slight angle, and one guy here. And then, on the tips of the wings, a little touch of black. Just there. And just two little legs then dangling down, okay? And there are some nice seagulls. So we could kind of keep adding to this then as we go if we wanted to. Putting in little highlights just here and there, you know, little suggestions of a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But you know, for the most part, I suppose we could just call this finished, couldn't we? And it's got a nice dark in here behind this rock. And that really kind of pushes the rocks back then. So guys, I think we could call this one finished. Yes? And again, thank you very, very much for all the support. Thank you for your comments. I hope you've enjoyed it today, because I certainly have. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you think. And I will see you again very, very soon. So guys, You can email me on any photographs that you have of your artwork. If you would like some criticism from me or some advice, at stephenconway12@gmail.com. And visit patreon.com/stephenconwayart if you would like to support me. I would be very, very grateful. So guys, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you again very, very soon. So happy painting. Goodbye.